Welcome, everybody. We are back. This is Sia Nejad Sports, coming off a great week with none other than David Meltzer. But I'm so happy I get to bring a friend of mine. Prince, I'd like to call you a friend of mine. We've been on a show together before. You came on to the Win Daily Sports Show actually a couple different times on Sirius
Yeah.
XM and on the Win Daily Show as well. So I'm so happy to have you here. I have so many questions for you. Prince, how are you today?
Dude, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing solid. I just have a lot of day-to-day stuff to do. I mean, I worked out today, hung out with my kids, answering emails, and yeah, just busy work.
All right. Well, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us as well. And I want to start out just by, in case you didn't know, Prince, we've only recorded 5 shows at this point. And the whole sort of concept behind Sia Nejad Sports is trying to create habits for people to kind of get them out of their rut, to try to inspire
Mhm.
them, to try to motivate them, to maybe accomplish a goal that perhaps they didn't think they could accomplish. And I think you know how that goes, Prince. Well, maybe you personally don't know how it goes, but you've seen it where somebody has a dream, somebody has a goal, and then life gets in the way, or maybe excuses or reasons, however you want to characterize it, get in the way. And those goals just don't get achieved for whatever reason. And I wanted to ask you, because clearly you've accomplished, and I can ask you later what your goals are from here forward, but you're obviously pretty goal oriented. I mean, first round pick by the New York Giants, you were super successful at Nebraska. The Players Choir, which was a super huge success, which just puts a smile on my face every time I go to YouTube and check that out, from America's Got Talent. But you were kind of grounded in whatever your parents instilled in you. I know your mom is an Olympian, your father a teacher. Was there anything from them that you have taken with you through your life that you can actually maybe convey to people out there, like these were sort of the values that I had that excelled me through football, for example?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my mom is super, super, super competitive, and I think we've got that from her. And when I say we, my five sisters and me, I think we've received that from her genetically, and then just through osmosis. Like she always pushed us to do whatever we want, to do multiple sports. I was a multi-sport athlete. I did basketball, football, and track, and to always work hard. I feel like we always hear uh, people older than us or people that we look up to. They always say like hard work, hard work, hard work, and it. I think because it seems monotonous and it seems repetitive, I think that can be easily looked over. And but there's no secret recipe. It's just you just keep going. You just keep going, keep going, and keep going, and you just keep putting in the work. And so we got that from my mom, and then my dad. He really just told us the importance of education and reading and just school. Like in high school, the first thing that college scouts asked for was not my highlight film. It was my transcripts. They wanted to see what type of student I was. And then in college, when the pros were looking at me, they wanted to see what type of person I am. Right? You always hear these crazy combine stories of scouts. They're making a huge investment into that player, so they're going to ask the janitor, the receptionist, "Hey, what type of person is Prince? How did he treat you?" And so on and so forth. So I remember my dad always says like, a, your name, your a good name is better than riches, and just making sure that I'm representing the Amukamara name to the best of my ability.
That's really interesting because it's something that I try to do as well. And I think it gets overlooked by a lot of people. The idea of treating everybody the same exact way, and the idea of always kind of carrying yourself a certain way, because it's not a quid pro quo situation where if I act good here, I'm going to receive something good back. Like that's not really how to attack it, right? It's just be good, right?
Yeah. Right.
Um,
Right.
the, yeah, the hard work thing, I think that's really interesting because I don't think people really know how to define hard work. I think most people, they think to themselves, okay, I'm going to work hard, but then they hit some sort of blockade and they're like, oh, I guess I have to give up now. And my whole thing with hard work is you kind of have to take those failures or those blockades and kind of work through them. Did you have any failure sort of in your career, whether that be in high school or college or in the pros where it looked like, or maybe you had a mindset that was like, hey, maybe I can't do this, but because of hard work and perseverance, you pushed through it?
100%. I mean, and I don't even call them failures. I just call them like learning lessons. And sometimes those learning lessons can be expensive. I mean, especially in the business world. But an example that comes to my mind, I wouldn't say it was a failure or learning lesson, but it was just dealing with adversity. Like all my life in football, I've been an offensive player. I was a running back in high school, running back in Pee Wee, running back Pop Warner. I was the guy scoring the touchdowns. I was an offensive player. And then when I get to the University of Nebraska, I commit as a running back and they just throw me in the defensive room. And so now I'm an 18-year-old kid dealing with the fact that I feel like I've been manipulated, I've been lied to. I don't know how to navigate through this. And so the first thing I want to do was to transfer. And it wasn't as easy as it is now with the portal and stuff like that. It was like you were for sure sitting out the next year and stuff like that. And so I spoke to our team chaplain and he's telling me, hey, like maybe God has you here for a different reason. And at that time I wasn't trying to hear that. But the competitor in me, like what was instilled by my mom, just had me stay there and say, you know what, like figure it out. And so I started watching film on cornerbacks. I thought it was impossible to play the game backwards. Like I couldn't believe corners ran backwards, played the game backwards, always reacted to what the offense was doing. I thought it was really the hardest position. And so after watching guys like Joe Hayden was a guy I studied when I was in college, when he was at the University of Florida. And I had a good coach by the name of Coach Pelini and a great position coach by the name of Marvin Sanders. And just listening and just being a sponge, being humble and just receiving all that knowledge and putting in the work. I mean, I was on Mel Kiper's big board by the time I was a junior. So I could have ran away from that adversity, right, and say, you know what, things aren't going my way. This is tough. Let me go have it my way, right? Like the Burger King plan. Like I want it my way. Let me go and find a college that's going to be more suitable for me. Or, you know what, like, hey, like maybe they see something in you that you don't see. Yeah. Right. And that could be it most of the time when like coaches have been coaching for a long time. And sometimes they're not blowing smoke, right? They're like, sometimes if they say like, hey, they see potential in you, they really see potential in you. And so I'm glad I stuck it out there and stared adversity in its eyes, and it worked out.
That's incredible because, again, 19th, correct me if I'm wrong, 19th overall pick by the New York Giants. And that was not the position you were recruited for. Prince, my take on being a cornerback in the NFL is that not only is it the hardest position, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, not only is it the hardest position in the NFL, I think it's one of the hardest positions in sports, if not the hardest position in sports, considering you are reacting against guys like Tyreek Hill and you name it. We can name, 1,000 different receivers, but you're literally having to react to them as opposed to really anticipate too much. Is that not the hardest position in all of sports?
I would say 100%. I would say it has to be. And you can touch them within those 5 yards. That's it. And your back is usually towards them and not the ball. And so, the receiver has tons of advantages. I mean, and that's why you see guys like the Jalen's, the Byron Jones. I mean, that's why like you're seeing guys getting paid that much money is because it's such a valuable position, and it can either hurt you or help you.
One of the payoffs with your perseverance, and I'm getting somewhere with this, but I want to ask you on the front end, I believe it was last year you got inducted into the Nebraska Hall of Fame, correct?
Yeah.
So I noticed, I was on your Instagram profile just doing random kind of research. And I noticed you gave a speech. There was a big banquet. Of course there is, right? It's the Nebraska Hall of Fame. But I also noticed that when you went on the field and you were appreciated by all those fans, that you had a shirt, or it was a sweatshirt really, and it had in lowercase letters the word others, period. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. And I'm glad that you mentioned the period. So it was around 2018 and I was talking to a friend, and I just feel like it was time that I should start a foundation. And I feel like when people start foundations, it's always towards a specific cause. And for me, I just feel like my heart breaks for so many different things. Like I can't just make a foundation about just one cause. Like too many things matter to me, which is a good problem. And so I was just thinking about, okay, what's the common denominator? What's the consistent theme between like everybody? And so it's just others. Like that's what my foundation is about others. And that's why the period is there, because that's it. It's others, period. Like that's what life is about. And that's who we want to be there for. And so it could be one year, we could be doing something for single moms. Another year, we can be doing something for homelessness. Another year, we can be doing something for like the STEM program and stuff like that. I mean, and then cancer and then Alzheimer's. I mean, there's just so much, and so we really just want to be there for others any way we can.
Last week this show had David Meltzer on the program. And I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a former NFL agent. He used to work with Lee Steinberg, who you may or may not be.
Yes.
Of course, you're familiar with him. As CEO of Sports One Marketing, and he's, I guess, co-CEO with Warren Moon there. His big thing, I mean, he has a lot of big things. He's not only an entrepreneur, but he's a motivational speaker. He's an excellent guy. And he wants people to ask him for help because of the feeling it gives him. I think it's a subtle thing that people don't realize, is that when you ask somebody for help, they get such gratification out of that. And I wonder, and I think this is something that's really important for people to hear, because they don't make that connection until they actually do it. And in your case, with the Others Foundation, it seems to me that gratification settles in with you when you get to help all of these different people.
100%. And that's so true. And it almost kind of sounds selfish, but that's just something you're receiving indirectly of just being genuine and just being selfless and just being helpful. So for an act so selfless, you feel an emotion that's kind of like that's selfish. So it's funny how that works. But yeah, I mean, even like the example that comes to my mind when you were saying that is like, there's times, like how social media is, like you have a bad game, everyone's killing you on social media or whatever. And there's times where I'm like, man, I'm not signing no autographs when I go through the tunnel or when I leave. I'm not signing nothing. Then you just see this little kid, innocent little kid, with a Sharpie and a helmet. It's like, how can I not sign for this kid, man? I mean, it's not like he was the one like writing stuff or whatever. But even if he was, it doesn't matter. Like when you come out of the tunnel or going into the tunnel and you see them, it's just like you just want to make that kid's or that person's day. And it's the best feeling when you're at a signing or you're out in public and then they show you, man, Prince, look, this was us dude, so many times that's happened. Man, Prince, this was us 5 years ago. Dude, like you stopped and took a picture. Or I live out here in Arizona, and at the Super Bowl experience at the convention center down here, I had a signing and I was walking around, and then this kid, hey, you signed this for my daughter who had cancer. Like, dude, I appreciate it. And then he showed me the picture, and it's just like, man, just taking the time to just do that. It's crazy how long of a way that goes. And so I always try to do it as much as I can. Take a picture, sign an autograph. It's literally, as tedious as it may feel for other quote unquote celebrities or athletes or artists, it's literally 2 seconds, maybe 4 seconds if they don't get the picture right. But it's just boom, boom, boom. Like it's not that bad.
And I think what's so great about that, Prince, is that you don't have to be a celebrity to help people on the smallest level. For example, I'll walk around South Florida, and I'm on Las Olas Boulevard. It's very active. It's relatively young, but I'll walk past. This is a weird characterization, but these are things that actually happen. I'll walk past an older person, like I'm talking older person, that I think probably feels like they're just not going to get noticed or acknowledged for whatever reason. They're walking by themselves, and and whatever the case may be. And I will make it a point to make eye contact with them and just give them a warm hello. And the smile that emits from that person's face, woman or man, whatever, it's like, oh, okay, you're like just the mere. It doesn't have to be an old person. That's just happens to be my example, but the mere acknowledgement of somebody who doesn't think they're visible to you, or just thinks, you know, that they're just kind of one of many people walking the street. That mere acknowledgement puts a smile on their face, and that smile lasts maybe the entire day. So it's not as long lasting as a Prince Amukamara autograph, but it's something that actually can improve
Very
their day,
true.
lead to so many other things that are quality things throughout that person's day, week, and month.
Dude, that is so true. And again, like more examples come to my head. I did that this week in Orlando. This lady was a janitor, didn't know who I was, and I was going to go through the gate, and then I opened the gate for her so she can go through first. She's pushing her janitor card, and she said, "Thank you. No one's ever did that for me." And I called my wife. I said, "Can you believe that?" She said, "No one's ever like let her go first with her janitor card. Like the guest is always in a hurry." And so that touched me. And then another funny example is when I was in Chicago, I always went to True Food Kitchen. It's a restaurant, and I always dress down, whether it's a long trench coat, sweatpants, and I was eating, and then right when I was gonna pay, I'm a regular there, so they know who I am. The waitress says, "Oh, this couple over here took care of your meal," and
Wow.
how big-headed of me, I'm thinking, "Oh, they know I play for the Bears." Like, so I said, "Hey, like, thank you for I'm paying for my meal." I almost led with, "Did you guys want a picture or something?"
Right.
But something told me to, like, "What made you pay for my meal?" And she's, "Oh, no reason. We just wanted to," and stuff like that. And then it dawned up on me. I think they thought I was homeless and stuff like that, which is cool. But I didn't tell them like, "Hey, I played," or whatever. I just said,
Yeah.
"You know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot," or whatever. And I just kept on I just kept going on with my day, and that even made me feel awesome. The fact that they would do that.
Yeah, and I think the takeaway for anybody listening is it could be a big thing like a charitable donation to the Others Foundation, or it could be a small thing like a smile and a hello and a thank you, looking in somebody's eyes, or holding the door open for somebody and letting them go first. Those things, if you do them on a daily basis, I can tell you from my own experience, and I'm not talking to you, Prince, I'm talking to
Yeah.
anybody that's listening now or watching later, it just makes such a big difference. Prince, let me ask you, because you've hit a lot of milestones in your life. I don't know how you perceive them, but you know, obviously in high school you hit milestones, and in college you were amazing at Nebraska, and that's why you're in the Nebraska Hall of Fame. Your rookie year with the New York Giants, you win the Super Bowl and you take down the New England Patriots. And then just last year, I believe, maybe 6 months ago, you're on America's Got Talent with the Players Choir. So,
Yeah.
which is, I kind of want to ask you about that because it's just so intriguing to me. But of all of those milestones, is there one, and maybe there's others too, but is there one from those that you value more, that you were nervous about more, or just like when you think back, you're like, man, that was unbelievable?
Yeah. I mean, I think each of them reaches its height in intensity depending on the season I was in. So, for example, right, like me getting drafted first round and knowing what that means for my family and generations to come, and how my life is about to be changed forever. Like, that was huge for me, and I'm still thankful for that to this day. And then winning the Super Bowl, and just knowing that being a Super Bowl champion is going to be connected to my name for years and years to come. Like, that was awesome. And then, like you said, with the Hall of Fame, I mean, the Nebraska Hall of Fame was so, it was interesting in a sense of, like, I seen older guys as old as 80, and I mean, I was the youngest guy there, and so I was thinking, man, how awesome would it be to be 80, right? Go in the Hall of Fame, and then now your grandkids, like,
Hmm.
your whole family's there. They know that great grandpa or grandpa, like, he was the guy back then. And I'm thinking, like, man, would it have been awesome to have received it that later in life? But I mean, it was still awesome to receive it at my age that I am now. But America's Got Talent was just so different, man. It's the same energy and adrenaline that I felt when I got on the field. Like I have to perform. Like this is a competition, but to do it in front of who we did it in front of like Simon and Heidi and gosh,
I
there's
forget her name from Modern Family.
yeah, from Modern
Yeah.
Family, yeah, and then gosh, I forgot the other guy,
Howie Mandel.
Howie, right,
Yeah.
right, and so to do it in front of them and then a live crowd, like that is so, and singing and dancing like that, like it makes you want to experience that again, and to be on live TV and do that. I mean, I kind of want to put that in my bio, like AGT contestant or
Of
athlete
course.
on AGT. Yeah, I mean, that's something I can say that I did. So I just chalk it up to every moment has its season, and I enjoy it in that time, and then I just keep going.
So I assume level of excitement is I would assume similar to when you were standing on the field for the Super Bowl against New England Patriots, but perhaps with the Super Bowl. And I'm just trying to understand it as a layperson. With the Super Bowl, maybe that excitement's a little bit more intense. Yeah, I don't know how to characterize it.
Yeah, well, with the Super Bowl, I mean, that's something I've been working like 18 years since I was a kid for, and I mean, and to get it my first year, yeah, it's almost like, right, like that's it. But then like everyone always goes back to that Tom Brady interview, right? This is when he's won 3, I think, and he said, "Man, like there has to be something more." Right? Like it's like he wasn't satisfied. Like you just won 3, you're on top of the world, and it's like it's not enough. And so off the field, I mean, I've been vocal about it, but like just had triplets and stuff like that. And so yeah,
you just actually didn't know that the background stuff I didn't catch that you just had triplets.
Yes, so just had triplets, and so yeah, I mean, being a father, like being a husband, like knowing that, like I have a lot of friends that are single, and they always tell me like how hard it is, like dating and stuff like that. And so like knowing that I've potentially like found the one that like I plan on spending the rest of my life with, like that is so hard. That is so hard to do. I don't care what anyone says. Like that is so hard to do, to be vulnerable and put all your trust in this one person who may fail you from time to time, but you still have to love that person over and over and over again, and to choose who you want to do that with. Like that, I feel like that's an accomplishment and stuff like that. So it all has its seasons.
So are those your only 3, or did you have a child prior?
Oh, I had 2 before then. Yeah, I have a 7 and 6-year-old. Yeah, so we went 2 to 5 pretty quick.
And you found the time to come onto this show, which again I truly appreciate. And I'm going to actually get you out of here in a couple of minutes, but I do want to ask you from a Players Choir standpoint, are you all still going to do any? Did you do anything at the Super Bowl, and are you doing anything in the future?
Yeah. So we sang "Missing You" at the NFL Honors for all the people who passed on, who left us in the league this year. And one of the guys was the guy who from the Steelers, the Immaculate Catch.
Oh, Franco Harris.
Yeah, Franco Harris. Yeah, he was one of the guys on the slideshow. But we did that. That was awesome to perform at the Honors. We just got back. We did an event in Orlando. So we're still getting booked. We're still traveling. We may have some stuff. I think we may be at the ESPYs or Kentucky Derby. Yeah, but it's nothing set in stone. I'm just excited. That's also an amazing brotherhood to be a part of. It's like the locker room again. You're just going on and performing with your guys, and people don't notice about the choir, but the choir, like there's a lot of guys who deal with a lot of mental stuff, and the choir is their outlet. Like them being part of the choir kind of helps them. It's almost like therapy for them. So we're so thankful that it exists.
That's an interesting point, because I think when people are having sort of the mental anguish or what have you, having that outlet, I mean, it's not going to be the Players Choir necessarily, but maybe listening to music or playing music. I think those types of things can be really fruitful in somebody's life in terms of kind of overcoming that mental anguish. Oh, there you are. I see you. Yeah. No, so what I was saying was that's really interesting. It didn't occur to me, but yeah, like playing music, listening to music. There's so many different things you can do to kind of deal and handle mental anguish. And I think taking that step and doing something like you did, it had to take a little bit of courage to put yourself on America's Got Talent stage, right?
Yes, no, 100%. I mean, and that it's just crazy. Like doing all these things, singing, dancing, rehearsing, like it makes me appreciate like when I go to a concert and I see um whoever there's a band called like anyone, like it could be like a Taylor Swift, right? Like or Drake, or especially a guy like Chris Brown, someone who's dancing and singing and putting on multiple like is doing back to back sets for like 90 minutes or 2 hours. Like it is insane how much energy and preparation that goes into that. So definitely appreciate the art in what they do.
Well, last thing before I get you out of here, Prince, I think you are so level-headed. I think you have so much to offer. You've accomplished so much. I'm curious, what is Prince Amukamara doing in 5 years?
Ooh. Um, that's a good question. I really enjoy being an entrepreneur. Um, I'm huge in real estate right now. And when I say real estate, I mean real estate is so broad. So
Mhm.
I mean that took me forever to explain. But in 5 years, and it's so crazy. Now I have to now I have kids. I have to take in fact. Okay, well, how old are my kids gonna be? And then that would kind of determine what I'm doing. Because I eventually want to coach eventually, but I want my kids to be older just because of the hours and I want to be around. And so yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I know I'm going to be doing something. It's funny, right? Like when we think about retirement, we think like you picture a straw hat, straw umbrella, the waters, sand, and whatever beverage of choice that you have. Like people think that like, are you going to retire? Like you're going to be, it's like, who wants, like, if you're wired to go and do,
Yeah.
yes, you're going to have more downtime, but like, that's just how you're wired. Like you have to keep your wheels going. You have to do something and stuff like that. So I know that I'm not going to be staying at home most of the time, and I know I'm going to be always be doing something, and I don't know exactly what that is, but it's probably going to surround real estate and of course my foundation and something with others in mind.
Yeah. I mean, Others Foundation, real estate. I know your goals are going to be big. And one thing I took away from the America's Got Talent, I think it was the first audition actually, is one of the players, it wasn't you, said, time is fleeting. If you have a dream that you're holding on to, take the shot.
Mhm.
And Prince, I anticipate you taking plenty of more shots, and I appreciate you taking a shot at Sia Nejad Sports, because honestly, everything we've talked about in just the 30 minutes you've been here has had tremendous value. And I genuinely, knowing your schedule and knowing that you just had triplets, taking the time out, thinking this show was important enough for you to come on and for us to have a conversation, it's really important to me, and I do appreciate it.
No, thank you. And I mean, and I love what your show stands for. I mean, going out and doing something, even if you were procrastinating indirectly, like you were forced into procrastination, but just do it. Because I was told like try everything, because the thing that you try and you don't want to do, it might lead to the thing that you're supposed to do. So just keep trying things, and you'll eventually get to what you're supposed to do. And so, yeah, I like that. Just keep trying. Like it's never too late. And I know I'm going on a rant, but like I love TikTok, and only love TikTok just because of the knowledge that it gives on my algorithm. I don't know what everyone else's algorithm is showing, but the knowledge, like there was a video and it showed that it was showing like actors who started acting when they were like 40, and businessmen who got into business and they were like 50, and they're all super successful. Like I think Colonel Sanders didn't start KFC till like he was in his 50s and stuff like that. And so like it's when you hear stories like that, it's like it's never too late, because I want to be an actor one day. And so knowing that I can start later in my 40s and still be solid, like Brendan Fraser, right? Just won his first
Yeah.
Oscar. And this dude did Georgia the Jungle. I mean, he did so, that's what I remember from Georgia the Jungle. And he did so many things. And he just won an Oscar at like 50. Like, come on. Even, I mean, Will Smith. Will Smith last year or 2 years ago, I think last year was when he did his thing. But Will Smith, he won an Oscar. Like that was his first Oscar. Nobody knows that, but it's just like you just have to keep going, keep chipping. And even if it doesn't pay off the way you want it to, the journey, I believe, is the payoff. Going through what you're going through, learning what you're learning, that's the payoff for me.
Yeah, so I'm a pretty good example of that on a much smaller scale. So I'll end it with this. Prince, you don't know this about me, but I'm an attorney who practiced law in Virginia and in Florida for 13 years. I wasn't happy, and I ended up doing pharma sales for 5 years right after that. And I was just fine doing pharma sales. I still have my law license to fall back on if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. And what I really wanted to do was get involved in sports media. So Prince, that's why I'm talking to you right now, is because I was chasing down goals. And for the record, I'm over 40 years old. So these were, I had a family. These were serious risks and chances I was taking, but I did them in an informed way. And I chased the goals down. And here I am doing sports media full time. I'm doing this show, but of course I'm doing stuff with CBS Sports and Win Daily and Sirius XM. And you're right about the ultimate goal might end up shifting. The point is to put the work in, and maybe you have a goal, but the point is that goal might shift, and it might be a better goal than you originally envisioned. So I absolutely love that message. And we may have finally lost Prince. Oh, he's here. Prince. So let's leave it at that, actually. I love what you said at the end there. It's so important. But Prince, thank you for coming on to Sia Nejad Sports. Hope to see you again on here in the future. Everybody that is listening now or listening later, go and check out the Others Foundation. It's a really good cause that Prince Amukamara is heading up, along with a bunch of other bright people that are doing the same. Prince, thanks for being on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.